I'm sure we would all love to hear from you. How do we manage these negative emotions?
Without plucking out the cause, there's no way that you can manage, remove the effect. The best formula I give for fear is face it.
Namaste. Welcome to Wellness Wisdom. Today we will talk about emotions and intellect. We welcome Shri Ishwaran. Namaste, sir. Sir, last time we were discussing about emotions, negative emotions, positive emotions, and we spoke about how there is a flow of things that happen once you have a desire. And we spoke about how anger, greed, jealousy come about. We classify these as negative emotions. I'm sure we would all love to hear from you. How do we manage these negative emotions?
See, essentially, if you have to manage the effect, you have to manage the cause. Without plucking out the cause, there's no way that you can manage, remove the effect. The cause is indiscriminate thinking. So remember, musing, association, desire. The whole thing is started with what? Musing. Unintelligently entertaining that thought. That is the mind. When you have a strong intellect, that will not allow this indiscriminate thought flow. Galloping, developing that vigor, force into a desire. And once that desire happens, then everything happens automatic after that. All these emotions will happen. Your anger, fear, greed, jealousy, arrogance, all these things will happen. All this will lead to delusion, moha. And then you are completely lost. So, if you have to handle that, essentially you need to build a strong intellect. Through building the strong intellect alone, you can manage this. This is the causative analysis, causative treatment. Having said that, there has to be a symptomatic treatment also. Like right now, sir, I am having 102 degree, fever. What do you give me for that? So we say first you take one paracetamol, reduce the fever. Like that we can give some suggestion. In that I will say for example, anger. There's a huge discussion about anger management. Okay. Now first thing you need to understand, there is a specific shade you have for anger. That is, anger means that urge in me to destroy. Violence. When angry means the person wants to destroy something. That's why you find people breaking things or hitting. If I'm not able to do anything, slam the door. If I'm not able to do anything, that fellow starts, he goes. Why? He's grinding his teeth. Why he is doing all this? Is that violence has to be there. This anger always expressed as violence. This is the specific shade of anger. Same way, fear. If you say, fear has a specific shade. Fear need not be resulting in violence. See, so first thing what we do is, we never allow that anger to get mounted. So consciously you must avoid that I am triggering into anger. First, step one is get out of that scene. Move away from the scene. It just requires a little diversion. Divert yourself, you will become normal. But remember, this is not a solution. Okay, solution is in building a strong intellect. That's the real solution. Now, this is only to reduce the symptom. Anger developing into violence, that you can stop first. Stop that first. Then you can handle anger. So this is way you do. Same way, if you go to fear, fear has a specific things about it. Like, I fear anything which is other than me. Wherever there is otherness, there is fear. Wherever there is selfishness, there is fear. That's why you will find the labor union leader, where to represent the union, to speak to the management. How he speaks? He is speaking for the labor force. 500 laborers are there, say 500 families. I am representing the 500 families. How I will speak to the management? Vis-a-vis, when I go to the management for my cousin's brother-in-law's appointment, there's a vacancy, I am taking my brother-in-law CV and I am requesting the management. My tone itself is different. My body language itself is different. Why? The moment you have a selfish agenda in life, you will be riddled with fear. The moment you are unselfish, no fear. So develop that attitude. Develop this capacity to see that oneness. See to it that you develop this unselfishness. Like that, we have for every negative emotions, there is a shade. Similarly, for every positive emotions also, there is a shade. There is a shade for love. There is a shade for gratitude. You see, it's not the same. There's a shade difference is there. Now, you have to understand that particular shade and allow that to manifest. Allow that to gallop energy. When it comes to the negative emotions, step 1 is not to allow this to further develop. Like I gave the example of anger, fear, all this. So like that we can manage. But it all depends on case to case. The best formula I give for fear is face it. Any fear, face it. I have known lot of ladies who have valid car driving license. They got the license. They don't drive. Why? Not that they don't have a car. They have a car. They don't drive. Why they don't drive? Fear. Fear of traffic. How do you face it? You have to get into the drive. No point you are sitting next to the driver and keep on seeing how the driving happens. It will not. You have the fear of water. You have to jump in to handle that fear. The way to handle fear is face it. Anger, how do you handle anger, sir? Do not allow that anger to develop into destructive violence. Move out. Before it gallops that step, move out. These are few things you can try.
Very interesting. And through several episodes, we've spoken about penetrative thinking, building of intellect. What is intellect? I think we never really spoke about how to build the intellect. Could you please explain to us how can we build an intellect?
At last, you asked the right question. See, intellect is different from intelligence. Remember this first. Intelligence means being well informed, skillful with reference to a particular field of expertise, having a lot of knowledge and information on one or more subjects. That's called intelligence. Intellect is beyond that intelligence. where information digested through reflection and converted into wisdom. So when the information is processed through properly, it becomes intellect. When information is gathered only with the idea of utility, because today if you see, the entire education system is with utility. That's why we feel the pressure of studying. Every student I have been requested to conduct a stress program for school kids, 6th standard, 7th standard students. They have to do stress program, they said. So much of pressure. Why? It's nothing to do with it's to do with what? The moment we say knowledge, immediately we ask this question, what's the use of it? The moment you acquire information only with the idea of application, utility, earning, profitability, economics, that is intelligence. Intellect is the ability to acquire an information, reflect on that information and digest that information and keep it. Doesn't mean he will never use it. Remember, okay? It's not that it's not going to be used. It will get used automatically. But the focus is not this. So intelligence is information plus utility. Intellect, information plus reflection. Thinking, processing, questioning, enquiry. So remember, intellect, immediately you need to bring in this word enquiry. The process of constant enquiry. That's what we call as research. Research means research. Searching again. Again and again I go back and search. Now you cannot ask him what is the use of this. He says, I'm doing it. Why? Because of my swabhava. Like Picasso used to ask this. People come and ask me to interpret my painting. I can't understand why there has to be a meaning to painting. He used to say that. Say, just see the painting and cherish, right? I paint. Why I'm painting? Because I am just expressing myself. That's it. Rabindranath Tagore writes poetries, expressing himself. That's it. There is no utility to it. You see, the moment you bring in utility means what? Earning, economics. Today we are validating science to economics only. If it is not economically viable, there is no one is willing to fund the research. Where is the funding for research? So the scientists also have to go to seek for funding. With what? So it will be very useful. I'm not saying, do all useless things. Okay? Immediately don't go to the other extreme. Say, oh, now what are you recommending all of us to do useless things? No. Utility is not the focus. So what is the focus? The focus is, my nature is that. My nature is to study philosophy. I study philosophy. People come and ask me, why did you choose philosophy? I give them some reason and escape. I duck the question most of the time. If I cannot, I'll give some weird answers and walk out. But essentially, it is your nature driving, what we call as swadharma. I am inclined towards mathematics. I am inclined towards music. Inclined towards philosophy. By studying this, by learning music, what I am going to achieve? That's not the focus. Music is the focus. I'll give you one example and leave it at that. You know Mahabharata?
Yes.
Right? In Mahabharata, Draupadi Swayamvara happens. Arjuna goes. You know the Swayamvara, where he has to shoot the eye of the moving fish, looking at the reflection in the water. Right? Now, why he is going into the context? Only to win Draupadi. But when he is going there, Arjuna's eye should be where? Draupadi or the fish? Imagine Arjuna is looking at Draupadi, what will happen? That's intellect. When you go there, look, my focus is inquiry. I don't care what is going to be the outcome. That is explorative nature. By engaging this intellect through this process of collecting information and reflecting on that information is how you build your intellect. What in Sanskrit we call as Shravana and Manana. Shravana, listening, Manana, reflection. Through the process of Shravana followed by Manana, you build your intellect.
We spoke about intellect building being a process. Any process may take some time. So, what do you think a common person can do during the period his intellect is not built up? How does he function in the interim?
See, in intellect, there are two things. One is I need to strengthen my intellect from my current level to next level. Let's say that I have 40% intellect. That 40% should become 60, 80, etc. Keep growing. Another thing is, I have to ensure that whether that 40% is available to me throughout the day. Most of us have the problem of not lack of intellect, it is lack of application of the existing intellect at a time when it is required. You see, most of us will encounter situations in life which can be handled by my 40% intellect. But because it's not available, so it is a non-availability at the right time. That's why many times we regret, isn't it? I don't think I should have done this. I don't think I could have done it differently. Now all this realization you get post. Imagine that same realization you would have had that time. You could have avoided so many complications of life. See. So first thing we recommend to people is to strengthen the intellect from 40 to 60, 50, 70 reflection. To bring in that 40% available throughout the waking hours is called the process of introspection. Reflection you do in the morning, first thing in the morning. Introspection you should do last thing in the night. Introspection means you just run through the events of the day from morning till night. Just scan the whole thing, that's it. Remember, introspection is not an analytical process. It is just mentally running through the whole day, that's it. You don't reason there, you don't analyze there, you don't criticize there, you don't appreciate, you don't depreciate, nothing you do. You just run through. This running through should be done just about 5 minutes maximum. No more, no less. Maximum do it 5 minutes. Maybe when you start, you will do it only for 3 minutes. Doesn't matter. But don't exceed 5 minutes. If you are exceeding 5 minutes means you have started into reasoning. No. Introspection is just running through. Number 1, 5 minutes. 2, run through the day in one direction. Don't keep moving up and down. Say for example, if I attempt to do introspection today, first time I am starting, and I say, when I sit in the night, I'll start. I woke up, brushed, tea, then paper. Then suddenly from newspaper, I will jump to office. Office I went at 10:30. Newspaper reading was happening at 7 o'clock in the morning. From 7 to 10:30, what has happened? Don't come back. Don't say, oh, during breakfast time. No. Start from there again. Start from office 10 and 30. Then what happened? You just move from one to next and close. Don't analyze. One direction movement. 5 minutes, one direction movement, no analysis. This, if you do for a period of time, you will find your existing intellect will be available to you throughout the day. So, introspection will not give further strengthening of intellect. A lot of people think this itself will make me strengthen. No. Introspection will bring your awareness, whatever you have will be available to you. That's about it. It is reflection that alone will build your intellect, which will take time. This is a very simple exercise you can do. During daytime, this is morning exercise, reflection. Night exercise, introspection. Throughout the day, all your actions ensure that there is a standard. Standardize things. Try to make it as standardized as possible. Try to ensure that your lifestyle is simple and easier. Don't have a complicated lifestyle. Like standardize, when I say, must have the clarity of what sort of dress I am going to wear. What sort of equipments I am going to use. Now I write a lot. So if I am going to write, make notes, and I am making notes, am I to use pencil or am I to use pen? If I am going to use pen, then which pen I have to use? There is a range. You see, fix. Something you standardize, something you simplify. You don't have to be miserly in that. Depending upon your status, your position, standardize it. Throughout the day, live a simple, standardized life. Morning reflect, study reflection in the morning, night introspection. Enough, your life is made.
This was really very useful, sir. I hope it will bring benefit to each one of us. The concept of really building the intellect is of immense importance. It will lead to, I guess, harmony in relationships as well, and many other things as we have spoken over the episodes. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us through these episodes. Wellness wisdom is an important part of our lives. Namaste.
Click on the bell icon to watch our latest videos.